Next, let's move to Denmark and meet Hans Christian Andersen, whose fairy tales shaped childhoods around the world. Born in Odense to a poor family, Andersen grew up facing hardship and rejection. These early struggles later shaped the emotional depth of his stories. His breakthrough came in 1835 with Fairy Tales Told for Children, a collection that eventually grew into one of the most influential fairy tale books ever written. Stories like The Little Mermaid and The Ugly Duckling carry more than simple morals. They explore loneliness, hope, transformation, and the desire to belong. Andersen didn't limit himself to fairy tales. He also wrote novels, travel books, and autobiographies such as The Improvisator and The True Story of My Life. What makes him truly special is how he lifted the fairy tale from a simple folk form into a serious literary genre, filled with emotional depth and universal themes. Staying in Denmark, we come to Isak Dinesen, the pen name of Karen Blixen. She became internationally famous for her memoir Out of Africa, published in 1937, where she describes her years running a coffee plantation in colonial Kenya. The book is filled with lyrical reflections on nature, culture, fate, and human relationships. Before that, she wrote 7 Gothic tales in 1934, a collection known for its elaborate storytelling, mythic atmosphere, and psychological depth. Interestingly, Dinesen wrote many works in English first, and then they were translated into Danish, which shows how global her voice already was. Her writing blends old-world romanticism with modern existential questions. She often explores themes like identity, sacrifice, and destiny. Now let's move east to Poland and meet Adam Mickiewicz, one of the greatest poets in Polish history. He is seen as a national bard, especially because Poland was partitioned and lacked political independence during his lifetime. His poetry kept the spirit of the nation alive. His most famous work is Pan Tadeusz, published in 1834. It's a beautiful verse epic subtitled The Last Foray in Lithuania. The poem looks back nostalgically at the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, blending pastoral scenery, patriotic emotion, and reflections on exile. Next we have Czesław Miłosz, who won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1980. He was a poet and essayist deeply shaped by the tragedies of 20th century Europe. His experiences during the Second World War and his disillusionment with oppressive political regimes appear powerfully in his famous book, The Captive Mind, published in 1953. This book examines how intellectuals can fall under the spell of totalitarian ideologies. As a poet, Miłosz blends spiritual reflection, historical awareness, and philosophical questioning. His selected poems highlight his careful attention to language and his commitment to moral inquiry. He remains one of the most important literary voices of the post-war era. Finally, let's meet Olga Tokarczuk, one of the most innovative contemporary writers and the recipient of the 2018 Nobel Prize in Literature. Tokarczuk's novels combine mythology, ecology, psychology, and cultural history in inventive ways. Her novel Flights, published in 2007, won the Man Booker International Prize and explores travel, wandering, movement, and the human body in a fragmented, almost mosaic-like structure. Her novel Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead, published in 2009, mixes crime fiction with ecology and mysticism inspired by William Blake. Tokarczuk's writing refuses to fit into a single genre. Instead, she creates narratives filled with philosophical depth, folklore, and imaginative storytelling, making her one of the most important literary voices in contemporary Europe. Let's move to Central Europe, to the Czech Republic, and meet 2 writers whose works change the way the world thinks about identity, power, freedom, and the human condition. We begin with Franz Kafka, a name that almost always appears in discussions of 20th century literature. Kafka was born in Prague to a German-speaking Jewish family, and he spent much of his life feeling caught between cultures, languages, and expectations. This sense of dislocation shaped nearly everything he wrote. His most famous work is the novella The Metamorphosis, published in 1915, and this publication year has been asked in exam. In this story, the protagonist Gregor Samsa wakes up one morning to find himself transformed into a monstrous insect, and that image of transformation has also been tested in exam. What makes this story so powerful is not the transformation itself, but everything that follows. Gregor becomes trapped, ignored, and gradually rejected by his own family. The story reflects Kafka's haunting themes of alienation, guilt, and the dehumanizing pressure of modern life. It asks us to think about how easily society turns away from those who no longer fit its expectations. Another major work is The Trial, published posthumously in 1925, and this detail has also been asked in exam. In this novel, Kafka follows Joseph K., a man arrested without explanation and prosecuted by a legal system so mysterious and irrational that it seems almost supernatural. Through Joseph's struggle, Kafka exposes the terrifying logic of a world where power is faceless, rules are impossible to understand, and guilt is assumed without question. Kafka's writing style is spare, intense, and filled with a surreal kind of clarity. Because of this, we now use the word Kafkaesque, a term that has been asked in exam to describe situations that feel dreamlike, absurd, or trapped inside endless bureaucracy. Even though Kafka published only a small amount during his lifetime, his legacy survives because of his friend Max Brod, who ignored Kafka's request to destroy his manuscripts. Thanks to that act of defiance, the world was able to read some of the most influential works of modern literature. Now, turning to another major Czech writer, we come to Milan Kundera, who lived from 1929 to 2023. Kundera was born in Czechoslovakia but later moved to France and eventually adopted French citizenship. He is known for novels that combine philosophy with personal stories, blending political insight with reflections on memory, identity, and desire. Kundera's most famous novel is The Unbearable Lightness of Being, published in 1984, and this title has been asked in exam. The novel is set during the Prague Spring of 1968 and the following Soviet invasion, both of which have also appeared in exam. Against this political background, Kundera follows four central characters, Tomas, Teresa, Sabina, and Franz, and these names have been asked in exam as well. Through their relationships, the novel examines themes of love, betrayal, longing, and the philosophical idea of eternal recurrence, which comes from Nietzsche. Kundera is known for his narrative style, which often breaks the fourth wall, comments on the story directly, and switches between perspectives. His writing is playful yet sharp, personal yet political. Interestingly, Kundera first wrote his novels in Czech, but later self-translated and revised many of them in French. His works constantly question ideological certainty and emphasize the importance of individual freedom and irony. They show how private lives are shaped by political history, yet also how people resist that history through personal choices. Together, Kafka and Kundera give us two very different but equally profound visions of modern life. Kafka shows the nightmare of faceless power and existential anxiety, while Kundera explores the complexity of human relationships in a world marked by political upheaval. Both writers remind us how literature can reveal the deepest truths about fear, freedom, and the fragile balance between the self and society. We begin in Hungary with Imre Kertész, a writer whose life and work are inseparable from the darkest chapter of the 20th century. Kertész survived both Auschwitz and Buchenwald, experiences that left a profound imprint on everything he wrote. In 2002, he received the Nobel Prize in Literature, becoming one of the most important post-war voices of Central Europe. His most famous novel, Fatelessness, published in 1975, tells the story of a teenage boy who is suddenly taken away to concentration camps. What makes this novel striking is the narrator's tone. He describes horrifying events in a calm, almost detached way. This naive, observational voice creates a strange sense of absurdity, almost like reading something influenced by Kafka. Instead of portraying the boy as a simple victim, the novel forces us to see how the mind tries to make sense of the senseless. Kertész doesn't offer easy answers or comforting resolution. Instead, he shows how identity can collapse under the pressure of totalitarian power. His writing makes us confront the quiet, everyday nature of horror, reminding us that the worst tragedies often happen without dramatic music or heroic speeches. Because of this honesty, Kertész remains a crucial voice in both Hungarian literature and Holocaust writing. Now we move south to Greece and meet Nikos Kazantzakis, one of the country's most daring and philosophical writers. His books explore big questions. What is freedom? What is faith? What does it mean to be human? Kazantzakis lived at the crossroads of religious tradition, modern thought, and ancient Greek heritage, and his writing reflects this rich mix. Many people know him through Zorba the Greek, published in 1946. The novel contrasts two characters, Zorba, who lives with passion and spontaneity, and the narrator, who thinks more than he acts. Through their friendship, the novel becomes a reflection on joy, loss, and the beauty of living intensely, even when life hurts. But Kazantzakis became even more controversial with The Last Temptation of Christ in 1955. This novel imagines Jesus not only as divine but also deeply human, wrestling with fear, desire, and doubt. Because of this bold portrayal, the book was banned by the Greek Orthodox Church. Yet, the novel remains powerful because it shows a Jesus who struggles and therefore becomes easier for readers to connect with. Kazantzakis blends ideas from Nietzsche, Buddhism, and Greek spirituality, creating a story that feels philosophical, emotional, and deeply personal. His work reminds us that humans grow by struggling, questioning, and striving, even when the answers are not clear. Our final stop is Iceland, a land of dramatic landscapes and ancient sagas. Here we meet Halldór Laxness, one of the most respected Nordic writers and winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1955. His writing blends modern ideas with the spirit of old Icelandic storytelling. His masterpiece, Independent People, published in 1934 and 1935, follows Bjartur, a stubborn sheep farmer determined to stand on his own feet. Bjartur wants independence more than anything, independence from landlords, debt, and even emotional attachments. But the reality of Iceland's harsh environment makes this dream painfully difficult. Through beautiful lyrical language, Laxness shows how pride can become a burden and how poverty shapes both families and nations. The novel also questions the idea of independence itself. Is anyone ever truly independent? Or do people always rely on community, nature, and unexpected forces? Laxness mixes satire, folklore, and politics, giving the story both local flavor and universal depth. His writing helped bring Icelandic literature onto the world stage, showing how even a small nation can produce stories of immense emotional power.